Hi friends, we're starting with Unit 5. We're still going to be talking about fractions. This time we're going to go to multiples of fractions. Now before we go to multiples of fractions, I want to remind you what multiples are. So we used it when we found common denominators, and we used it at the beginning of the year. It's when we had, so if we had 1/2, we took our denominator and we said 2, and then we counted by 2. It would be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and so forth. And then we put down our helper things, because to remind us how we got our multiples, we did 2 times 1, 2 times 2, 2 times 3, 2 times 4, and 2 times 5. So we're going to take that same thing and we're going to do multiples of fractions. So this is what I mean. And to help us with multiples of fractions, we're going to think about our unit fractions. And let's remind ourselves what our unit fractions are. So we have our fraction, and I'm going to draw my circle over here to show my fraction. And this is 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, and 1/4. And remember it equals 4/4, 1 whole. So this says we have 3/4. So all unit fractions means is how many pieces do we have. So if we have 3/4, it's going to be 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4. All right? So we have 3/4. We can write it this way. This is one way. We have this way. And this one is our unit fractions. Unit fractions is when the numerator is always 1. And then we have our picture over here. Now then, another way that we can write it is how many groups of 1/4 do we have? We have 3 groups of 3 groups of, remember, this is groups of 1/4. So we have 3 groups of 1/4. So this is another way that we are going to be learning, and how we say 3 times 1/4. And remember, this could be times or groups of. Okay, so let's try another one. Let's do 5/6. Let me get another color. 5/6. So the first step is we are going to make it into unit fractions. So we have 5, so it's got to be 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, 1, 2, 3, 4 plus 1. And then they're all 6. So we just go, don't forget to put your denominator on all of them. The denominator does not change because our number of pieces do not change. So I'm going to go ahead and do my circle. And to get my 6 pieces, no, that's right, I did it right. So it's 1/6, 1/6, 1/6, 1/6, 1/6, and 1/6, and I have 5/6, so I'm going to go ahead and color in my 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Remember, this is unit fractions. And then our new way is how many groups do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 groups. 5 groups of 1/6. So this is 5 groups of 1/6. So we have different ways, and they all mean the same. They are all equal. They are all equivalent. So we've got unit fractions. We've got our picture, and now we have our new way that tells us how many groups of 1/6 that we have. Okay, so now we're going to move on. We're going to add onto it a little bit. So we're going to do multiples of 1/4. Okay, so now remember, we are not changing how many pieces that we have. We are not changing how many pieces that we have. So we are going to do multiples of 1/4. So I'm going to draw my picture first on this one. So I'm going to do my fourths this way. So those are 1/4, 1/4, 1/4. These are still fourths, remember. So this is 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, and 1/4. All right. So I'm going to color it in. So we have 1/4. Now we have two groups. How many fourths do we have? So this could be, we have two groups of 1/4, right? And it could also be written as 2/4, correct? So now we have two groups of 1/4. So my next one, we have 1/4. Now we have 2/4. 2 times 1/4. All right. Let me see if I can get my next picture right here. So now we had our two groups of 1/4. Now we're going to have three groups of 1/4. So we have three groups of, 3 times, this is 1/4, I didn't write all my 1/4, but they're in there. 3 times 1/4 is also 3/4. 1, 2, 3. Can you see that? So this is times 1, times 2, times 3. So what do we think the next one's going to be? If we follow our pattern, we do times 4. That means my numerator goes to 4, my denominator stays the same. So I'm just going to keep adding here. This is my 1/4. So this is times 1, times 2, times 3, times 4. And so we were right? Okay, so what will be the next one? We're going to do times 5. I'm predicting. Drawing my picture. 1/4. Times 5. So the same thing happens. What do you notice? Do we change how many pieces there are? Nope. We are just changing our numerator. We're just changing our numerator. All right. So our code for today for math is come to math holding your ear. I don't care which ear you hold, just come to math holding your ear. And I know that you've watched the video and that it's the code. So the code is holding your ear. It's not a word, it's a motion today. All right, so let's review a little bit. So we talked about unit fractions, and we talked about how to write it with 3 groups of 4. We've done all these parts again, and this 3 groups of 4 is going to help us when we do our multiples. So we came down here, and we started doing our multiples. 2 times 1/4, this is what it looks like as a picture, because we did times 2. Then we did times 3. Then we did times 4, and then we did times 5, and it changed it. So we're going to practice this. Uh-oh. I must have hit the wire. Let's make it bigger. Sorry, friends. It just doesn't like me sometimes. Okay, let's try it again. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. All right, so here is our next problem. We are going to make this 4/5 into unit fractions. I want unit fractions. So we take our numerator and we just do 1 plus 1 plus 1, and we're going to do. And the thing with this one to remember is make sure that equals the top. 5, the denominator does not ever change. So 4/5 is 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5. So that means it's 4 groups of 1/5. 4 groups of 1/5. Okay, so let's do 8/3. Okay, so we've got 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 groups of 1/3. Now you might start noticing something. You might say, hey, wait a second. This number matches this number, and then I just times my unit fraction, which is 1/5. This number tells me how many groups, and my unit fraction is always 1 over the denominator. Do you see that? So if we were following that pattern and we had 5, 6, if we follow that pattern, that means that this is how many groups, so it's my 5, and my unit fraction is going to be 1/6. Let's check and see if we're right. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is there 5 groups? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, there are 5 groups of 1/6. So once you start to see that pattern, you don't always have to write out all your unit fractions. That's just to kind of help us understand why we have 5 groups. All right, so now let's write multiples. Let's do our multiples. So we're going to do multiples of 1/10. So as we're thinking about that, you kind of think of your pictures. We're not going to draw our pictures. So this is 1 times 1/10. Now we're doing 2 times 1/10. So 2 times 1/10 means you have 2 tenths. So that means you have 2 tenths, because that's 2. Then we have 3 times 1/10, which is 3 tenths. Because we can go, if we can go backwards, we think of these two things. These equal the same thing. So if it's 3 times 1/10, that means that this is also 3 tenths. So then if we have 4 times 1/10, it is 4 tenths. Then we have 5 times 1/10, so then we have 5 tenths. So these are the multiples. Okay, so we're going to be practicing going back and forth between these two, and we're going to be practicing finding multiples of our fractions. One thing I really want you to notice is that the denominator does not change. The denominator, when we're finding multiples, the denominator does not change. All right, remember what the secret code motion is.